Vladimir Lenin was born on April 22nd in 1870 in Simbirsk, Russia. He was the third of 6 children, and his family was highly educated. He was also educated and finished first in his high school class. Vladimir's family events shaped his childhood. His father was a school inspector and threatened with early retirement by the government. His brother was executed for taking part in revolutionary activity. He was part of a group planning to execute Emperor Alexander III. Vladimir continued with his education and went to Kazan University to study law, but then was expelled shortly after for illegal student assembly. He did not stop pursuing education and continued to receive top ranking in law examinations and then received his law degree in 1891. After receiving his law degree, he dedicated his time to working with citizens. Vladimir's worldview was shaped by the locations and times he lived in. Before he led Russia, there was a Russian Tsar led by the monarch Nicholas II in 1917. Although there was parliament, which was called the Duma, he essentially had full power because he could get rid of members whenever he wanted. Citizens were unhappy under Nicholas II for many reasons. They wanted to escape World War I, which costed Russia money and resources. They were also upset with workers' conditions, which were 11-hour days and the lowest paid in Europe. The tipping point was when Nicholas II took over the military, which resulted in repeated military failure. The military then turned on him, which was called Bloody Sunday, which happened in 1905 when troops fired on peaceful petitioners. Nicholas II then had no other option but to surrender. The Duma formed a provisional government under Alexander Kerensky. People were still unhappy, which resulted in July Days. July Days was a violent rebellion involving soldiers and workers against the government. At this point, it was not hard for Vladimir to take over after the government failed. Vladimir wasn't the only one trying to take over, which led him to take aggressive, dominant views of socialism. These views were dark in nature, but used in order for protection to secure his spot as a leader. These dark views were reflected in his contributions to communism. Vladimir contributed to the concepts of communism in several ways. Vladimir led the Soviet Union, which was considered the worst dictatorship of the 20th century. He took a harsh approach to secure himself as the leader while people were trying to take over. A famous quote from him was, "You cannot make an omelet without breaking eggs," meaning in order for change to occur after a revolution, you must break heads. It is a bloody, gruesome, and tough war. A fundamental belief he had was class struggle is the chief driving force of historical development. His ideas of communism differed from Karl Marx, which was a large, inclusive, broad organization with numerous components of society. Lenin believed in a small, exclusive, organized, and disciplined organization. He believed people did not know their best interest yet, so there needed to be an internal party that led democracy, which was named Democratic Centralism. This was theoretically the first step, which would then lead to democracy after people learned their best interest. He contributed because under Richard II there was a monarchy full of illiterate peasants. Under his ruling, Russia became an industrial superpower with the best education and more women opportunities. There were also science developments, and everyone had food and a job. Although it was similar from Marx, Vladimir offered his own perspective of communism that contributed to the philosophy. Vladimir Lenin's concepts of communism does not have a place in modern American society. There has been events that pushed America away from communism, such as the Red Terror, which resulted in mass killings, and the Cold War, where America and Russia had tension. Capitalism is also present in American society, which means classes are divided. There are employees and employers. In a communist society, there is no separation between the employees and employers because the employers give back to the employees. American society is set up as a capitalist, which is why there is not a strong influence of communism.